because we had a day in between. So if I look at creditors recon, the basics about it is, again, I have an extract from my business that I am doing's books, right? And that extract would be the creditors ledger. And the creditors ledger is most a creditor that is a liability. So it is a minus plus. Then I will also have an extract from my creditors books. But in my creditors book, so this would be the statement that they email me every month. And you'll see that they will always email me a few days before the end of the month because they want to remind me to pay them. Okay? So now, but in their books, I am a debtor. And that is why in the statement, it's a plus minus. Okay. Now, I also told you about the things here at the bottom. I said to you, your credit terms is basically your payment agreement. So you agree that you're going to pay within 60 days. If you don't, they're going to start charging you interest, né? And then they also say you get 5% discount if you pay within 30 days. That's an incentive for their debtors to pay faster. There's also a credit limit, which means that's the maximum you can buy on credit at this specific trader. And you can see that they don't really control it very well, because can you see that I went over my credit limit? So that means that they don't have systems in place to regulate that. Most big shops, like Edgar's, True's, that work a lot on credit, the tellers, the sales people, when they scan your card, your information will appear on the screen. So the system would not allow you to go over credit limit. So for instance, let's say that 25,000, I've still got left 5,000 of it. And now I want to buy 7,000. The system will only allow me then to buy 5,000 on credit. The other 2,000 I would either have to put back on the shelves or pay cash. So, but obviously Elsie does not have a system like that. So if I would ask you a question, do you think she's got good control over her debtors? You're going to say no, because she allows them to go over their credit limit. Okay. Now what's going to happen is there's 3 methods that I can ask you in a test to do this in. I can ask you like this, where I ask you to fix the creditor's ledger. Can you see? It's the same principle. If there's a mistake in my books, or there's something not in my books, I need to put it in my books. And my books is the creditor's ledger, which is a minus plus. Okay? I can ask it for you like this, or like this, where you need to plus minus, or I can ask you the creditor's ledger in itself. Okay. Then you're going to do a creditor's recon. Now remember, this recon is the things that is not in my creditor's books. But because I can't go and fix her books for her, I set up a recon to remind myself for the next statement. Be careful not to say bank statement, because it's not a bank statement, it's an account statement. So the next account statement that she sends me, I need to check that these outstanding things are there now. So important to remember, this is going to be a plus minus, because in her books I'm a debtor. Okay, so I am going to do this method first, the long one, right, the more detailed one. So if I look at this, I remember the creditor's ledger is a minus plus, and the creditors recon is a plus minus. The first thing I want to put in is the balance, the end of the month. So this would be the balance on the account statement. I think let's write that, because I have a lot of problems where people say bank statement. So just say account statement. So in the creditors ledger, I will take the final amount, the 22,620. And in the creditors ledger, creditors recon, I'm going to take the 37. But now remember, I'm a debtor in their books, ne? 37,750. Now I can see they're not the same. Obviously, one of the reasons would be because my books go to the 30th, where her books only go to the 25th. Other reasons would be the ones they give me. So remember, in my books will be debit notes, in her books would be credit notes. Okay, must I just quickly revise the debit credit note? Okay, so you have two parties, not parties that you dress up and go dance, parties like in people or businesses. So the person returning the goods is sending a debit note. So the debit note is asking an allowance. Okay? The person who has to give the allowance sends a credit note which says, yes, I'll give you an allowance. Okay? So can you see if the person who sends the debit note will have the duplicate debit note and would put it then in their CAJ. Ne? The person receiving the debit note who issues the credit note is going to have a duplicate credit note, meaning they're going to put it in their DAJ. Now can you see in this case, this is me, this is Amin, and this is Elsie. Okay. So can you see Amin will always be the one with the debit notes in this case, and Elsie would be the one with the credit notes because they're answering us. Okay. So the debit note 334 on 15 May. Now let's go look. Debit note 334, 15 May. First thing I want to see, is it on the right side? Yes, it is. Can you see it's 900? Now they say it was subject to a trade discount of 10%. Remember, if I go buy something and they give me discount, let's say I go to Edgar's, ne? And I see this beautiful top, and this top costs 300 Rand. But it's marked down 10%. So it means I only buy it for 270. When I get home and I fit the top, I see, oh, but there is like 3 buttons that's loose. I don't want half a top. So I'm taking it back to Edgar's. Can I now say that they must make my account less with 300? No, because I only owe them 270. So this is what's happened here. Can you see, if you look for the credit note 419, can you see here at 419, it says 810. So I say 900, they say 810. What's the difference? 90 Rand. And what is wrong? They say the debit note had a discount of 10% and Amin, which is us, neglected to subtract it. Can you see their books are fine? It's supposed to be 810. Our books are wrong. It's 900. So can you see, I want to make it less with 90 because I want this to be 810. So how will I get this to be 810? I am going to go opposite side, 90. Because opposite makes this amount less. Now I know it sounds weird if I say to you, can you see I'm going to add back 90. Why? Because I subtracted 90 rand too much. Okay. So in other words, I'm going to go to my books. I'm going to say, ooh, I'm going to fix error. Ne? Or you can say debit note, what was it, 334. Okay. You don't have to worry about folios because everything's going to be the general journal. On the credit side is 90. So 22710. Sharp. Next.
Why are we adding it again?
We're adding because we subtracted too much.
Or do we owe them more?
Yeah. So in other words, I owe them 810, but I subtracted 900. So now it looks like they owe me 90, which they don't. They don't owe me anything. It's like, let me do it like with simple figures. If I say 10 minus 7, you get 3. Now I say to you, oh, you know what? It wasn't 7, it's actually 6. So that 7 is overstated with 1. So I do the opposite. So I plus 1. So now I owe 4. That's the principle. Okay. Debit note 424 was for goods returned to Elsie. Now if I look, here's debit note 424. There it is, 780. Can you see the date is 23? So does it make sense to you? I sent the debit note, I wait for the credit note. So the credit note would come to me after the 23rd. Okay, so now if I look here, can you see there's no credit note? Oh, I'm showing you things that you can't see. Okay, can you see there's no credit note?
Yes.
Meaning she has not recorded it. So I'm going to record that in her books. I'm going to say debit note. Yes, she's going to send me a credit note, but I just want to remind myself debit note 242 doesn't have a corresponding credit note yet. And I'm going to put it on the credit side because it makes my debt less. It makes my debt less. Okay. Then they say, invoice 1495 was erroneously is a very grand British word for by mistake.
Fancy English, man.
Yeah.
Very derogatory.
So we'll say, it was by mistake charged to Ami. So can you see, there's no 1495 here in my books. But there is a 1495 in their books. So that 1495 is not supposed to be charged to me. So it's a mistake in their book, so I go to the Recon. So I say, invoice 1495, and I'm going to put it on the credit side because it's overstated. Can you see? It is actually very easy if you look at this. It tells you overstated, I go to the credit side. Goods to the value of 1280 were not supplied as per invoice 1509, issued a debit note 518. Now if I look at my books, can you see there's an invoice 1509 and a debit note. So it means I bought the 52 and I sent back the 12. But if I go look at Elsie, can you see she only has the invoice? Oh, it's the wrong color. She only has the invoice. So she hasn't recorded the credit note yet. So I need to go and remind her, myself, to check. So it's my debit note 518 hasn't received an answer yet. Okay? And it would go to the credit side 1 to 80. Last one. Elsie gave Amin 600 Rand discount on the payment for 12. Now can you see? Yes. Can you see? If you look here, there's a receipt and a discount. Can you see that? And can you see it's on the 5th? Now if I look here at me, can you see there's nothing of that?
Yes.
Now the reason, remember, I told you, Elsie sends me a statement before the end of the month. Okay? So it means if I paid her between the 26th and the last day, it will only appear on the next month's statement. Because that's not how business works. They send me a statement and then I pay. Ne? Okay. So in other words, I did pay her 12. Right? But if I can read here between the lines, it says she gives me 600 Rand discount, which I didn't know about. Okay, I read that between the lines. You're going to become good with that. So in my books, I'm going to say discount 600, which gives me 22110. So, the next thing I need to do is I need to check. Can you see? Elsie went only till the 25th. So that 27th is done, but the 30th is not in her books, definitely. Can you see that would be the stuff that would be in her books next month? Okay, so I need to go put it in. There's a payment to, and there's a discount, which obviously makes my account less, 8436 444. And now I say, oh, that means that my balance according to the creditor's ledger is 22110, and now both sides needs to add up the same. Can you see? It's the same as with the bank Recon. Everything up until here, everything till here, it's according to her statement. It's plus minus. But this is according to my books, minus plus. Okay.